Suppose you want to install a newer version of macOS on an older machine like the 12-inch MacBook or the 2013 Mac Pro. You can do that with the help of something called OpenCore Legacy Patcher. And in this video, I'll take you through the process step by step. I'll be using the Mac Pro behind me, but the steps are the same whichever unsupported Mac you have. As these machines get older, Apple starts discontinuing support and blocks you from installing newer versions of the OS. And there's a simple reason for this. The newer versions of the OS won't have driver support for your older machine, so it's not going to work properly unless you can somehow patch those drivers back in. The last officially supported version of macOS on this 2013 Mac Pro is version 12, Monterey. And Monterey reached end of life on 30th of November 2024. I'm recording this on the 4th of December, so this machine has only just stopped receiving updates. Now, fair enough, you might say, if it dates from 2013, that's 11 years ago. Except Apple was still making and selling these Mac Pros until 2019, and this actually is one of those later models. Now, I didn't buy it new, but if I had, it would have been a very expensive computer. So to find it being unsupported just 5 years later, well, that would be a bitter pill to swallow. No matter, there's always a workaround. In fact, you can install the very latest version of macOS, that's Sequoia at time of recording, on this old workhorse with the help of OpenCore Legacy Patcher, or OCLP. So, what is OCLP? Well, let's start with the OC bit. That's OpenCore, and that's an alternative bootloader which can be used to inject and patch data into memory instead of on disk. And this replaces the default Apple bootloader and allows unsupported Macs to install more modern operating system versions. The Legacy Patcher is a tool that's going to patch in driver support for your Mac for that new operating system. For example, with my Mac Pro here, it's got dual D700 graphics cards, and the drivers for those cards have been removed from newer versions of macOS. The patcher will put those back so that I can use the machine without any hardware issues. Now, there will be some functions in newer versions of macOS that won't work, things like Sidecar or Apple Intelligence. And if you're an eGPU user, you probably need to stay on Monterey for now, but I'll cover that in a dedicated eGPU episode, which I'm due to film in a couple of weeks. And for that reason, I'm sticking with Monterey on this Mac Pro, but I am going to reinstall it using OCLP. Well, that is, actually I've already reinstalled it, but I've screenshotted each step of the process so that I can take you guys through it. Now, you're going to need a spare USB drive, and this process is going to wipe all the data on the drive. First step is to download the latest OCLP installer from Dortania's GitHub page, and the link is in the video description. This software is free to download and use, but there is a donation link if you'd like to support the hard work behind the project, and I'll put the link to that in the description as well. You need to download the OpenCore Patcher.pkg file. Once it's downloaded, double-click on it, and you'll then find a launcher for the app in your Applications folder. Double-click on this to run the patcher, and you'll notice that it's already detected the machine that we're using. From this first screen, we'll choose Create macOS Installer. If you've already got an installer downloaded and installed within your Applications folder, you can choose Use Existing macOS Installer. It may be that you maintain your own library of installers, but we don't need to do that because we can also choose Download macOS Installer right in OCLP. We can choose the version we want from the list, and we can even copy the link if we want to download it manually. Then it's just a case of waiting for the installer to download, validate, and then extract. These files are pretty large, so depending on your connection speed, you might be waiting a while. But once it's finished, we'll be prompted to create the macOS installer. Just click Yes. Now, if you want to take a copy of the installer file for your own library, just head over to your Applications folder and you'll find that installation app there, and you can copy it wherever you like. And next, within the OCLP app, we just choose the local installer. If you've got more than one installer in your Applications folder, you're going to see them all listed here. And if you haven't inserted your USB drive yet, you need to do that now. You should see your USB drive listed. Just double check it's the correct one, because remember, all the data on the drive is going to be erased. And when you're happy, click on that and you'll be prompted to just double confirm your choice. Now OCLP will start the process of creating a bootable USB macOS installer, and this is going to take some time. So perhaps it's an appropriate moment to tell you about today's video sponsor, which is nobody. You're welcome. I'm trying to run this channel without doing commercials in the middle of my content, especially since YouTube is already including adverts. So if you appreciate this, please consider supporting the channel by doing the whole like, subscribe and comment thing. And if you're doing any shopping on Amazon, if you care to click on my links in the description, then the channel earns a small commission at no extra cost to you. As always, thank you for your support. Now, is the USB writing process done? Probably not. Expect at least half an hour, if not longer, and it does speed up considerably towards the end. And once it does finally finish, it will validate the installer integrity. Then we'll be prompted to continue and install OpenCore to the drive, so just click on yes. And this is the bit where OCLP does the clever stuff and patches those drivers that are specific to your machine into the OpenCore bootloader. And after this, we'll need to again select our USB drive. Notice that your system drive is also listed here, usually as disk 0. And you may even have more than one drive in your system and they'll all be listed, so just take care to select the same USB drive. Once we've done that, we'll be prompted to choose the partition, which should be pre-selected for us. Again, just check that the disk number matches the one that you just chose. The OpenCore bootloader will then be installed to the USB drive, and we're prompted to reboot. And as we reboot, we'll hold the Option key on the keyboard because this will bring up the Mac boot menu. And there you'll see your USB drive with the OCLP logo. It should be labeled something like EFI boot. So click on that one. This in turn loads up the OpenCore bootloader, and then you can choose to install macOS. Now there are some useful instructions on the OpenCore website which you'll want to check regarding disk formatting, especially if you're installing to a brand new drive, because it does need to be formatted properly. And also especially if you've got a Mac with a T1 chip, you need to be careful to only wipe the volume that contains the OS. Otherwise you'll lose your T1 functionality and things like your touch bar won't work anymore. And you will also find some basic troubleshooting tips on the website. Now, I'm not going to run through the whole process of installing macOS. It's actually pretty straightforward, but remember that our bootloader is still on the USB drive. So when you reboot, you may need to hold down the Option key to get the boot menu and click on the EFI boot as before. But this time you can select the system drive to boot up instead of install macOS. What we're going to need to do is boot into our new operating system, download OCLP again, and this time we'll select Build and Install OpenCore. Again, OCLP does its thing and then prompts us to install to disk. But this time we'll select our system disk and then choose its EFI boot partition. And that means that we can now remove the USB drive and boot without it because OpenCore has been installed to our system drive. And if you need to bring up the OpenCore boot menu at any point, you press the Escape key whilst you're booting up. And that's the process. It's pretty straightforward and really quite easy to get your unsupported Mac running with a newer operating system. Just be cautious about downloading the latest updates as soon as they're released, just in case there's anything that breaks. What you want to do is just check the OpenCore Legacy Patcher website for some information first. Now, of course, a great thing about the 2013 Mac Pro is that if you've got more than one SSD available, they're pretty quick and easy to swap. So you could have a couple of different macOS installations if you wanted to and swap between them. In my next 2013 Mac Pro video, I'll be trying to get eGPU support working, so hit the bell if you want to be notified when that releases. Thanks as always for watching and for supporting the channel. I'll see you again soon for some more geekery.